video's not working.
It was.
It was, yeah. This is of YouTube. I was looking at YouTube.
Are you okay if I open your email?
Oh, here.
At the invite to your email. So I want to open your email.
That's about right. I promise.
I can't promise you that.
Yeah.
It's on? Okay. Let me check, see whether.
Yeah. No, I think they're trying to hook him up with. What's his birthday? Do what? Oh, today? What?
Hook you up to my phone.
Browser and.
Did you get everything worked out with that business owner? The yoga? Oh, did you get everything worked out with that
Do we need to tell
business owner?
TV's
The
on?
yoga studio lady?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was just a miscommunication from somebody else that's not involved.
Oh, okay.
Get this TV on for me. And we've worked it out, and I've actually met her since, so,
Okay.
yeah, we're all good.
Perfect. How are you, man?
What did you do?
Same. Only one remote works.
It says we've got a connection. It's worried about the Wi-Fi not working.
Shane, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right.
Okay.
Dan, can I see the remote? There we go. Okay. Sorry.
Is there? Welcome everyone to the March 7th Mooresville Town Council meeting. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but we got everything working. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for short invocation. Pledge allegiance.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, as we gather this evening, this council asks for strength, courage, and wisdom. We thank you for this wonderful town that we live in and the privilege that it is to serve it. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Call to order the March 7th meeting of the Mooresville Town Council. Gentlemen have had a chance to read the minutes from two previous meetings. We have the meeting on February 21st. I need a motion to approve or amend the minutes.
Make the motion, we approve the minutes from meeting from February 21st, 23.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote. Jeff? Aye. Oh, Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? I'm an aye. 5-0. Josh, Greg, 5-0. I need a motion for approval of the minutes from our special call meeting from February 28th.
Make the motion, we approve the minutes from the meeting from February 28th of 23.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote. Jeff?
Abstain.
Josh? Oh, sorry. Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? Aye. And I'm an aye. 401, Josh Gregg. First item on the agenda is the public hearing for Resolution 4, 2023. This is a resolution in regards to the property, the personal property tax abatement requested by Old Dominion, what is it? Freight Plains. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Jeff?
None.
Dane?
No.
Josh?
No.
Greg?
No.
I need a motion to either approve or deny resolution.
It's a public hearing.
Oh, it is. Oh, sorry about that. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone that either speak in favor of or against, please come forward and state your name and
Mike Dellinger with the Morgan County Economic Development Corporation. Old Dominion's team apologizes. They wanted to be here for the confirmatory resolutions, but they have a national meeting in Kansas City going on this week. They did want me to send this message to you that they appreciate what we're doing with regard to the real and personal property abatements, and that by the end of year 4, they would anticipate being at 172 jobs in their facility and additional jobs into what they've indicated in this SB1. So they look forward to the opportunity, and this is part of the process that then would help them toward their acquisition of the real estate owned by the Town Redevelopment Commission in Mooresville Business Park, that they then would build and develop and operate a terminal. So thank you very much for your consideration of both of these requests in the public hearings this evening. Thank you.
further comments or questions?
Go ahead and close this public action. Okay. Take action, open the public hearing.
I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Dane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? And I'm an aye. Greg, Jeff, 5-0. Now do we go ahead?
I'm going to take action on the.
I'm sorry. I need a motion to either approve or deny the confirmatory resolution, Resolution 4, 2023.
Motion to approve confirmatory resolution 4-2023.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Dane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? And I'm an aye also. Greg, Josh, 5-0. Now we will have the public hearing for the resolution. That's the preliminary. There we go. For Resolution 5, and this is a confirmatory resolution on real property rather than personal property. Are there any comments from the public? There being none, I need a motion to close the hearing.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Close. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Dane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? And I'm an aye. Greg, Josh, 5-0. Now I need a motion to approve Resolution 5, 2023.
Motion to approve resolution 5, 2023.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
And I'm an aye also. Greg, Jeff, 5-0. Please ask him to start building as quickly as possible.
It's scheduled to be probably a 2024 construction based upon timing and closing the real estate, so on and so forth, but they want to be as expedient as they can because they see the opportunity, so thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is the awarding of the cemetery bid. We did have a letter here. Yep. I think everyone had the letter in front of them. After careful review, Dave Moore, I believe you found that both are responsive. Your recommendation?
I recommended that we go with the DARE. This is the most responsive bid. It's 775.
Okay.
How much took that?
775, I think.
They were waiving cleanup?
No, I tried to negotiate. I thought maybe we could do that, but it's a pretty big job, so we'll let them go ahead and do it.
Questions for Dave? Shane, do you have any questions for Dave?
No, sir.
I need a vote to accept Dave's recommendation, or
Motion to accept Dave's recommendation for the cemetery cutting with Adair's lawn care.
motion been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
That's an aye. I do work for both of these companies. I'm going to abstain on this vote. I think that I think either one of them would be great. I think Adair's is a great company. Motion carries 4-0-1. Next item on the agenda is street fair update. Gina?
Hi, guys. So I apologize. There was a little bit of crosshair and some emailing and taking on and off. This is actually supposed to be a 200th celebration update. So Sharon's got some things that she wants to say as a part of the committee for the 200th anniversary, and then I'll get to my portion with that as well when she's finished speaking.
Sorry.
That's all right. Good evening. I am Sharon Taylor, and I think most of you know Gina, but we are here representing Mooresville 200 this evening, and that is what we're calling our town's bicentennial, which is next year, 2024. Hopefully you guys have been hearing a little bit about that by now. I'm the chairperson for that, and it's hard to believe that it's next year. I stood before you guys in the fall of 2019 and was introduced, and a lot has happened since then. We've been busy. We started by forming an executive team. There's 6 or 7 of us on that team. Then we created sub-teams under that. We thought of areas that we would need sub-teams for, like history, events, arts, promotion, merchandising, fundraising. Those teams have been meeting for about 2.5 years now. We plan on making 2024 Mooresville 200 a full year of partying and celebration. We want to have things planned each month, just to give you an idea. There's a lot of things in the works. A photo contest for a calendar, art exhibits, Battle of the Bands. Sammy Davis is coming to talk to our children as well as our adults. The governor has agreed to come. There's a 200 doggy dash being planned, an eclipse weekend you've probably heard about, a time capsule we hope to bury in the fall, a commemorative book is being planned, and more. We think one thing, though, that's going to make our celebration a little bit different and unique is that we are inviting organizations and businesses to plan some of the events. We've been going out and talking to businesses and organizations and saying, you know, what could you do? It doesn't have to necessarily have a 200 theme, but something fun that the people in town would like to come to. So people are actually starting to do that, and all you have to do is go to the events page, download an application, and they can turn that into us, and then it's on the master schedule, and it gets the logo and all the branding. But we want people to have things to choose from all year long that they can participate in, fun things. That's kind of our goal. We expect people from neighboring towns to come, especially that Eclipse weekend, and we want to show off the town of Mooresville. Businesses have the opportunities to sponsor at different levels, and depending on what level they choose, they'll get different recognition throughout the year at all of these events. So that's what brings me here tonight. The town of Mooresville gave us our first seed money back in 2020, $5,800, and we thank you for that. It was huge. That's what allowed us to start with our marketing and get our website up and running and create public awareness. But tonight, we would like to ask you to consider donating another $4,200, which would bring the town up to the highest level of sponsorship. That's what we're calling our key sponsor level, a $10,000 level. And we believe, and I believe too, that this will show the town or everybody that you guys are behind this celebration and supportive of it. And that level will also give the town better recognition throughout the year at all of the events. So that is our request for this evening, and a few of us are here. We're happy to answer any questions you might have. Gina's going to ask for something else in regards to the Mooresville 200 as well.
Do you guys want to take care of that portion before I?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So on top of what Sharon has said, I'm on the executive board for the 200th committee as well as heading the Eclipse committee. We have an eclipse on April 8th of 2024, and we want to turn that into a full weekend celebration. We're expecting people to come from out of town from everywhere, stay for a weekend, and visit Mooresville. In that, it will be a 3-day event, and I am asking tonight for street closure permission for that to happen. Because this is going to be a full 3-day event, we really need to get started on planning now, and I don't want to plan until I know for sure that you guys will allow us to close the streets. I have spoken to the department heads. They have all signed this. Chief Buckner and Chief Dalton both made the request that we keep them updated and that they get to come to some of the planning meetings so that we're all on the same page as to what's going on. I have the permit here for you, and then the last page of the permit, as always, is my map for the street closures. Start with Tom. So essentially, this is going to be kind of like a street fair that we already do. It's just going to last for a full 3 days. I do ask that because we're doing this for 3 days that we not ask people to tear down and set back up every day. It would just be easier to keep everybody up and going.
You're talking about closing them
So it would be
all 3 days.
It would be from 10 p.m. on that Friday until 6 p.m. on that Monday. And we did get confirmation from the school board already that Monday will be an e-learning day, so school will not be in session. So that kind of helps as far as traffic.
Gina, since I can't see the map, you're making sure that the bank is open because it's an essential service, and then how are you handling parking for businesses that may be open for regular business?
So none of the parking lots will be affected. None of them will be blocked off. We will use the parking lots. Essentially, it's the same map setup that we used for the street fair, and that I will be using this year for the street fair. The closure will cut off before Citizens Bank parking lot so that they will have full access to their parking lot.
I might say too, we're encouraging all businesses to be open, and restaurants, which normally aren't open on that Monday, because we're going to need them. It's going to bring in a lot of people.
And what day is the actual?
The eclipse is on April 8th at 3 p.m.
will you guys be having any type of security or anything since they're gonna be overnight?
Yes, so we have discussed having a security company come in and help us as well, since there will be overnight guests and there will be people on the streets overnight or items on the streets. So that's something that we're working on right now as well.
What time does it close down?
So we're thinking it would be like 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, except for that Monday, and it would close at 6.
But closing the streets continually because they would be set up in
Correct.
the street.
Correct. I mean, we're asking people to come in with their businesses for an entire weekend, and it would really kind of be hectic to ask them to tear down every night and then set up again every morning.
Gina,
Yes.
I've had, and I don't want to speak for them other than to say that I've had interest from Town Center Church, which is on Main, just past the railroad track there, on East Main, and they've expressed an interest to me about letting us use their parking lot for people to be in for the eclipse. So you might contact them if this gets approved.
Oh, good.
Have you guys got any resistance from the downtown businesses at all
Not right
about
now.
the 3-day closure?
No, not right now. I wanted to make sure that we were, before we give them full detail, but the ones that I have spoken to, I haven't had any issue with so far. I mean, honestly, the downtown businesses look forward to a reason for people to come into town.
Have her go around and make it contingent upon everyone agreeing, or, if we agree now and then she goes around.
Yeah, I mean, no wedding venues or anything going on, no events that you know
So
of?
I work with Hallie as usual. Hallie is prepared for this. She's fully
Okay.
informed on what's
So
going on
nothing
there.
scheduled.
Right.
That was one of my big worries. So
And again, we're not going to be blocking any other parking lots for this event. All the parking lots will be open for parking purposes.
Has Citizens Bank offered their parking lot behind Bud and Bloom for those businesses, or?
Mark and I haven't discussed the full detail on whether or not we're going to use their parking lot. I know Mark usually requires that I have extra insurance for that purpose, so that'll be
Yeah.
something that we have to talk about in an executive meeting.
It might be that if they use their parking lot for part of the event, that maybe you rope off part of it for parking for like places like Bud and Bloom and places like that, you
Right.
know. But they'll still have their parking lot across from them, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You're right, it is. But
And it's a short time.
to plan an event at this size, we really need to get started now.
Maybe use the shuttle bus to go from different places, or you could have that like you do the
Victorian Christmas, we have discussed that as well.
Yes, that would help, because the street fair has gotten really big, and it's hard to walk from one area to the other.
Right,
And if you're using the church parking lot, they can just have a little route where the streets are closed off. They don't have to go on that street, just drop you off behind it where you take a little walkway up.
that's a really good idea. That'll help with Victorian Christmas this year too, yes, thank you.
Thoughts or comments? Jeff?
No.
Shane?
No, I'm supportive. It's a once in a lifetime event, you know.
Birthday party or the eclipse?
Both.
Oh, there you go.
This is a really good way for us to tie both into,
Right.
we're not only celebrating our 200th, but we're
Right.
also celebrating.
We think it's
the
great
eclipse.
this falls during Mooresville 200 because we've been told we're one of the ground zeros and they say literally thousands of people coming here to Mooresville for it. So we definitely want to put our best foot forward and be prepared with RV camping. We're talking getting land from, it requires a lot.
I was told that Jim is making this happen. But he scheduled it that way.
Kim's making a lot of things happen.
He's quietly behind the sideline.
Josh, question?
I'm just glad you came early.
Yeah.
Greg?
It's a long time to close the street, but it's, like I say, it's a once in a lifetime event.
Question is, do we want to do this, or do we want to send her out to talk to the businesses? I mean, you brought it up and it kind of made sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think we still reserve the right to reject it at any time if we come into a problem. I mean, our police, fire, EMS could open it back up at any time if there's a problem. So just keep us posted. I don't have a problem approving it tonight, just as long as, you know, let us know if you start getting a bunch of feedback that's
Absolutely.
negative, or they have
Yeah,
some
we don't
questions
need
or
that.
concerns, let us know and we'll work through it. So,
Okay, we're going to tackle these kind of backwards the way they were presented. Let's do the street fair first. I need a motion to close the roads for 3 days in April of 2024.
I make the motion, we close April, is it 5th, 6th, 7th?
Six, seven, and eight.
6th, 7th, and 8th.
6th, 7th, and 8th.
So the 5th is on there. It would be easier
That's it.
for us to be able to close the night before. That way
I
everything's
seen the
blocked
5th
off.
on there, but you
Yeah.
said 3 days. So.
So that would be late in the evening, probably 9 or 10 p.m. in the
Everybody
evening.
would start setting up
Right.
then.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
second.
Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Josh, Jeff, 5-0, have a party. Now, the second one is the request for funding. If you look at the general fund, you have in line item 3395, town hall promotions, or town promotions, a line item for that. I don't know if that is the request for the funding now, for the funding later in the year, or next year when it starts to happen?
We're trying to get funding now, so we know which events, you know, we can move forward with for sure.
Okay.
But we won't reject money at any time, but the sooner the better, just for our planning.
Okay, and the request was for $4,200, bringing the town's total donation to $10,000. Questions? Jeff?
I've none.
Just any frequent flyer points or anything?
Shane, any questions, comments?
Could you just tell me how much is in that account? I don't have a fund report in front of me.
$5,500.
Okay.
Josh, any comments or questions? Greg? Normally, what else do you spend that out of that? Anything? Okay.
Anything's earmarked for that.
Okay. I need a motion to either approve or deny their request for funding.
Motion to approve $4,200. The town hall promotions, is that right?
That is it. That is a possibility.
Okay.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Been seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? I'm an aye. Have a party. Thank you.
Really quickly, if you guys do want a street fair update for the May 13th street fair, it's actually going really well. I have 71 people signed up to be vendors already, also 6 food trucks, and we're getting a slushy truck this year too. So everything's
Been busy.
working well with that. Yes, I have been busy. Yes, absolutely. So thank you guys.
Tim and Sharon, you had signed in to speak. Was that this here? And is there Gregory Thurman? Oh, yeah, okay, now that makes sense. I wanted to make sure I wasn't passing over, and you can keep that. Our next item on the agenda is Gregory Thurman.
Good evening, folks. My name's Gregory Thurman. I'm with Redwood Living Apartment Neighborhoods. We contracted the property behind the Lowe's, owned by the Lassiters, several months ago and began planning and concepting and submitting an application after meeting with Tim and Dave here at the town. And we discovered a week or two ago that that's still in Brown Township. It's not been annexed, and we seek the services of the city's sewer department. So I made a letter of intent to Mr. Warden and expressed an interest to annex the property into the town and let us proceed with our application of zoning, which is going to be, the PC is set up for Thursday, actually. We've been through the concept planning, the application, and the technical review committee. So that's what I'm here for, is to let you know that pending the owners submitting their affidavit indicating their intentions to annex, that would be forthcoming. I submitted the items Diana helped me with a couple weeks ago that were needed for information. So I can answer questions regarding the plan, whether that's appropriate or not, before we go through zoning and everything, I don't know, but we can ad hoc whatever we need to here. It's about 32 acres. We're proposing about 100 apartments. We'll have access onto state SR 67.
So that will be an exit or exit.
At least a right in and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was worried about, because everybody coming out on Bridge Street that would be a mess.
In the technical review committee, that it was expressed that Bridge Street can be congested at lunchtime when the contractors are really pouring it on to get the afternoon materials.
You said this is an exit in and out on 67?
That's proposed to be a right in and right out only. And the main entrance will be off Field Street, which is where our property has current street frontage.
I know this really isn't part of our bailiwick, it would be the planning commission, but the right in, right out, that is limited access, and there is a crossover there. Currently does it have access to 67 from that side of the road?
Yes, there's an access there. We've already contacted NDOT. We have a professional traffic engineer working that angle, and we covered that months ago to make sure if it was required, typically with greater than 100 units, the fire department or the state marshal will require second access. So I tried to cover that immediately, after contracting the land. We aren't going to have more than 100, maybe 101 or 2. And I'd rather not build it, but we were told that that would be a high recommendation from the town to have an auxiliary exit from this property. I'd rather have an emergency access, but we're past that point.
But it'll be right in, right out only?
I don't know that yet. It could be full access, but we're working with NDOT, and they're looking at where that crossover is existing to service the other side of the street. There's a property for sale over there and a few homes over there. Yeah, I guess that's that.
Joel, can you elaborate on the procedure?
Yeah, so in order to start the process, we will need that signed document from the landowners.
Yes, sir.
That starts the clock. We have the information here to get to the financial analysts to get the fiscal plan done.
Sure.
But we'll need to, once that is signed, we have a 60-day time period in which to get everything done for a super voluntary. So I will need that document plus a legal description.
Yeah, we have that.
So we can create the different ordinances and notices. We'll have a public hearing that is involved there, and then once the fiscal plan is done, hopefully that coincides with the meeting, but it gets done when it gets done.
There's a process.
Yeah. So, it may be a special call meeting for that. We'll see, but as soon as you get that in, we can start the clock.
So that begs me to ask the question, is there a standard form for request of annexation affidavit? Or do I have to author one?
We don't have one, but I mean, I can get you.
An example?
An example of one.
Yeah, even if it's redacted, we can probably piece one together. So I would greatly appreciate that if I give you my card with my email address.
Is it the G Thurman?
Yes. Okay. Oh, good. You got the email. Good. Yeah, we'll take that as an example. That way it's not foreign to the powers that be thereafter. So looking forward to doing business in Mooresville.
Thank you very much. We'll move forward from that. Maybe we can time it to where the clock starts as the request is made at a public meeting and starts it from there.
Okay.
Yeah, we're flexible and we have plenty of time to get zoning, concept plan, and then final development plan. So that's quite a process, much longer than annexation usually. All right, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the CF1s for Overton Industries. We always have a competition to see who can get theirs in first, and Overton won this year's prize. Gentlemen have had a chance to look them over. We have actually 5 CF1s. Looking at those, they starts from Resolution 6, 2027. What I'm going to say on all of these are, when we look at their statement of benefits, their SB1s, any of the companies, whether it's Old Dominion or Overton or Acme Dynamite Company, they always put out to us, this is what we think our investment's going to be, both real and personal property. They also give an estimate on that project's growth in their company as far as employees. I'm going to say at this point in time, Overton Industries suffers from exactly the same problem that every business in Mooresville, Morgan County, and the United States suffer from, is finding good, dependable, willing workforce. At their highest point, and they did readjust it just a little bit, but at their highest point, they felt like they were going to be able to employ 53 people. Today they have 45 on their CF1s, but if you drive down past their place of business, you can see that it has now hiring. They're trying to fill those positions. Companies everywhere are suffering from that same problem. So usually when we go through these CF1s, we talk about their employment goals and their employment status. And I'm going to say right now, their employment status is not where their goals were, but I really don't believe that's a product of the company. I believe that's a product of today's work environment. That said, Resolution 6, 2027, was for personal property. It was for equipment. Their estimated cost of equipment was $94,153, and their true cost was $94,153.
What is it, 6 of what?
The Resolution 6 of 2017.
Okay.
The state of Indiana is very liberal, I guess I should say, on saying what actually constitutes substantial compliance. When you have a company that meets all of the goals that they've set out to and are still trying to meet those goals, my opinion is that is substantial compliance. Legal counsel may have another view of that, but I think that's, I think they have tried, and in their CF1 on the tax abatement Resolution 6, 2017, I do need a motion to either find them in substantial compliance or find them outside of it. And what happens when people are not in, when companies are not in that, you pause their tax abatement, but it doesn't take it away from them forever. It just pauses it for that year. So
we would need a hearing on that.
we would, yeah.
So we would have to invite them in and have.
Yeah, to give them the opportunity to argue, hey, we're trying to hire. Comments or questions? I need a motion to either find them in substantial compliance or not.
Motion, we find Overton Industries in substantial compliance.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
And I am an aye also. Jeff, Greg, 5-0. Resolution 1, 2019 was also for personal property. Their estimated cost of equipment on personal property was $348,190. The cost of that equipment was $348,190. Again, they met exactly what their goal was. I would say that they are probably one of the finer companies that we have in our town when it comes to knowing exactly what they're going to do and being able to convey that to this council. I need a motion to find them in substantial compliance or out of substantial compliance.
Motion to find them in substantial compliance.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? And I'm an aye. Next was Resolution 2, 2020. It was for personal property. Their estimated cost of investment was $140,000. Their actual cost was $140,000. Again, we need a similar motion to either find them in substantial compliance or outside of it.
Motion, we find them in substantial compliance.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? And I'm an aye also. Jeff, Josh, 5-0. Resolution 5, 2021, personal property. They caught us this time. Their estimated cost of improvements was $200,000, and those dirty rascals spent $219,670. So cost of goods must have went up on them. I need a motion to find them either in substantial compliance or outside of it.
Motion to find them in substantial compliance.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. 5-0. The last one is Resolution 4, 2022. It was for personal property. Their estimated cost was $179,000, and they spent $179,000. I need a motion to either find them in substantial compliance or outside of it.
Motion to find them in substantial compliance.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? Aye. And I'm an aye also. Greg, Josh, 5-0. That is the end of their CF1s. Ladies and gentlemen, since 2017, this company made an investment in our community on equipment to keep people gainfully employed of $981,013. If you look at the dates of those are when a lot of the industries were backing up, were shutting down, weren't doing very well. And this company continued to grow and strengthen within our community. Kudos to them. They've been an outstanding partner with the town of Mooresville for many, many years, and I hope that they continue to choose to locate here. Next item on the agenda is the public hearing. Do we have an ordinance number?
Ordinance 2, 2023.
Ordinance 2, 2023. This is a public hearing. The town of Mooresville currently has a cumulative capital development fund. It is property tax driven. It amounts to 0.043 cents on the $100 of assessed value. It does have to be reestablished. New legislation gave communities such as ours the opportunity to establish that at 0.05 per 100,000, so that's 1 nickel per $100,000 of assessed value. If it's chosen to go to the maximum level, the 0.05, then it is established and does not have to be reestablished year after year. Per $100 of assessed value.
You said 100,000.
Oh, per $100 of assessed value. Thank you for the correction.
Sounded a lot better than the first time.
It can very easily be construed as another tax increase, and it is. Our financial advisor came to us and said at our budget hearings that we are seeing decreases in a couple of our funds that we count on. One of them is a CCI fund. That is a fund that is driven from tobacco tax, cigarette tax. I've jokingly said 100 times, if you don't smoke, don't start. If you do smoke, smoke them all you can. Light up. That money is dwindling down because as a society, we are becoming somewhat educated on the adverse effects of smoking. So because of smoking cessation, we're seeing that fund slowly go away. It is going away because we're not collecting as much of it. The state of Indiana is not collecting as much of it. She also elaborated on the fact that the riverboat fund was slowly dwindling. The state is finding other uses for that besides small communities such as ours. So yes, it is a tax increase, but it is also replacing taxes that are going away. At any given time, there's legislation of people at our state house that are saying, hey, we need to sundown this tax or sundown that tax. We need to limit the way that we spend our food and beverage, or possibly it going away. The expenses in the town of Mooresville don't go away. Everything goes up. The rate of inflation probably far exceeds our rate of our levy increase. So yes, I will look each and every one of you in the eye and say that this is a tax increase, but I will also say that it is something that, we see small amounts or small jobs or leaks or pumps that go out and stuff like that we do need to spend money on. And we're shocked at the price just like everyone else. We get the sticker shock, but it's items that we have to fund. And this is a public hearing. Anyone with any questions or comments, we would be happy to hear them at this time. There being no questions or comments, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion been made. Do I have a second? Second. Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
And I am an aye also. We close the public hearing. Now, we need a motion to approve Ordinance 2, 2023, reestablishing the fund at 0.05 cents per $100 of assessed value.
Motion to approve ordinance 2, 2023.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
I'm a no.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. 4-1, motion passes. Now, from this point forward, this will have to be advertised. It will have a 30-day remonstrance period, and at that point in time, if there is not any remonstrance, it will pass, and we will establish a new rate. And I do believe that rate is payable next year, starting next year. Next item on the agenda is the sewer plant improvement, the diffusers. Gentlemen, you were given 3 copies or 3 requests for proposals. In our audience today, we have Calvin Boltry from our acting superintendent at the wastewater treatment plant. Calvin, I'm sure will be willing to answer any questions. Calvin, if you don't mind, I'll come on up here and I'll kind of enlighten what I know. I asked Calvin and Roger from HNTB to kind of Fisher Price this to where I would understand it. We currently have diffusers in the bottom of our tanks that put air into our holding tanks. And this project, one of the things that we have experienced historically is high ammonia levels in our system, usually on hot days.
The warmer the water, the worse it is.
Do what?
The warmer the water, the worse it'll be.
In hot weather, we really suffer from it. The way that you do that is we blow air into our sewage. The pipes that we have in there have large holes in them.
It's not blown into the sewage, it's blown into the mixed liquor, which is held in the VLR. We have coarse diffusers currently. The proposal is to make them fine diffusers, which give it more surface area, which will remove more of the ammonia in the warm weather.
More of a champagne bubble.
Correct. Like you crushed ice, you have ice cubes, and you crush the ice and it gets colder quicker, more surface area. That's what we're talking about.
Well, you brought it.
That's exactly why, because I wouldn't have called it mixed liquor.
Right.
I would have called it that sewage out there.
We don't air, well, we do aerate the beginning sewage, but in the VLR is where the bugs are, and that's where the activation process starts, which biologically removes all of the bacteria, as much as we can get. And we have had trouble in the warm weather. We've now got our return pipes on the return sludge that are slowing the level going into the VLR a little bit better, and we're able to control it much better than we have before. So, with that said, it would still help if we have very extreme warm water. Yes, it will.
It does get warm sometimes. Now, the three bids, the proposals or requests for bids were sent out. What you have in front of you are, first off, from Quality Repair Service, who has done a lot of work at our plant.
A lot of work they've done over the
They
years.
said that this is outside of their wheelhouse, and they did not want to bid on this particular project. The other two were Maddox Industrial Group and Ottenwiller. Is that how they say it? Ottenwiller. Now, if you look at the two bids, on first blush, what Roger and Calvin said, on first blush, you see the Maddox as a little bit cheaper, but if you look at the Ottenwiller, they did add in a up to $6,000 contingency on programming the air pumps to the computer system.
Yeah, PLCs.
PLCs, to where it was more automated. It will have to be done if Maddox does it, but they just did not bid that in their job. And take that $6,000 out of Ottenwiller and then bid it separately, or we can go ahead and accept that with the fact that it did have that on there. I did ask, was that programming required in the bid process, and it was not required, but it was kind of overlooked by us.
Probably recommended. It makes it automated. Helps. If everything's working properly.
It's working properly. We're going to make it work properly. Are there questions of Calvin? Jeff?
No.
Jane?
Yes. So does this, just from a practical standpoint for the public to know, does this, I've noticed sometimes the sewer plant has an odor to it on hot days. Does this help reduce odor, or what does it do as far as that goes?
It will reduce some of the odor by freshening up the mixed liquor as it goes through the plant and goes through the VLR, yes.
That's kind of what I've thought. And this has nothing to do with pH, does it?
No.
Okay, it's just
Not at
aeration.
all. It's just aeration.
how are we doing with their pH levels and so forth that we were having trouble with?
Oh, we've been fine for about the last 3 months.
Okay, great. That's all those were the questions I had.
Josh, any questions? Greg?
Well, I wonder, do you know who they used to program, or Maddox, or?
Toric Engineering probably is who we'll use. That's who we use for most of our others.
So that
Our
was pretty
SCADA
much
systems and things like that, Toric.
1,000 to Maddox's bid.
No, you've made it really clear, and then the programming itself is going to be a professional service, and not a contract, so you can obtain that however, you choose to get that professional service, so just so the public knows what we're looking at here, the Maddox bid without the programming is $104,875. The Ottenweiler bid without the programming is $100,122. So it's a $4,700 difference.
Gentlemen, this is because of forward-thinking councils way before us. They did make one of the approved uses of food and beverage funds, wastewater improvements. This is an opportunity to take advantage of those decisions made several years ago. So we do have a funding mechanism for it. I need a motion to either table, deny, or approve one of the bids.
What's your feeling, Calvin? What are you comfortable with?
Any improvement will help in,
I mean, as far as companies,
Have you looked at them?
are they apples to apples pretty
Yeah.
much, or?
HNTB, Roger likes the last one, the one with the wild name.
Ottenweiler?
Yes.
So HNTB's, they like Ottenweiler.
All of them are good. Maddox has come in and done a good evaluation too. The other one has a cheaper price.
I've heard of them, but I haven't heard of Ottenweiler.
And Maddox is Indianapolis.
Tom, you've talked to him. Do you have a recommendation?
I'm going to have to go with what Roger said from HNTB. They helped design it. They've worked closely with Calvin. He's been in and out of our plant, and his recommendation is the Ottenweiler. And the recommendation is because of price. Has nothing to do with quality. He thinks both companies are outstanding.
Motion, we approve Ottenweiler to move forward with the upgrades to wastewater treatment plant.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh? Greg? Aye. And I'm an aye also. Jeff, Josh? 5-0. The consensus, are you good with the food and beverage?
Yes, I'm good with that, for sure.
Shane?
Yes.
Josh? Greg? You have anything else? No?
Parts available?
We handled 5.5 million gallons of water Friday through the plant. 2.8 inches of rain, so we got through it. A lot of water.
Plant is running, I'm going to say, as efficiently as it has since the last improvement, if not better than the first day. Calvin, all of the guys at the wastewater treatment plant, every one of them is kicking in and doing exactly what they need to be doing, when they need to be doing it. We got a couple calls Friday because of the heavy rain. Calvin was there, 2 or 3 other people. Roger came down. We got through that. If we'd have had this rain 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we would have been in violations everywhere. This plant is doing an outstanding job.
There were no violations that day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good.
Department head reports. Not everybody at once.
Well, first off, I was gonna just fill you guys in on what we did before I got here. I don't know if you've been watching the news, but, they recently identified the remains of, Sergeant Charles Garrigus, who's actually a Terre Haute native. And, his remains were one of 54 boxes given back to the United States from North Korea, during the summit with President Trump and Kim Jong-un. But they identified him as one of the remains. And so he was killed December 1st, 1950. And he was just flown in. His remains were flown in tonight. And Mooresville Police, along with State Police and Whitestown, we escorted him to Jones Family Mortuary, which they'll have a funeral for him on Friday. And then we will escort him to his final resting place in Greenwood. So I thought that was pretty cool. So, yeah, the fire department was there. They're going to hoist the flag, and so we're going to try to, give them as much recognition as we can. The only other thing I have other than that is, obviously, we're having some issues down at the police department. The rain didn't do us too well. The street department dug the sidewalk up today, and Captain Forbes looked down and said there's no water protection at all around those pipes when they were put in. So I don't know, that's something that the insurance company's going to have to take care of. We got a price on a temporary switch, which is $15,000, and then the permanent switch is 60 weeks. I think they told us before we get one. So we're just hoping that we won't get another hard rain before then. It'll just look like to me, and I don't know much about construction, but it looked like the sidewalk was pushing water towards the building, and then there was nothing protecting the water from going in and going into the electrical box. And when the electrician comes in and says, everybody back out, I'll back out. So.
You didn't stick around.
No, I'm good. And when the wires are that big, I'm good. So we're trying to deal with that, and our lift station is still broken for our septic. I don't know when that's due to get fixed. So that's about all I have.
One question that he said was, are parts available?
Yeah, exactly.
60 weeks.
The parts, and the temporary switch is not warranted, and it's just because it's been sitting on a shelf somewhere, and it's just, you have to have it. We ran on a generator for a while, but we're actually hooked into AES right now until that gets corrected. So the AES only had us down for just a few minutes before they got us hooked up, so we were good on that. But we definitely need to come up with a contingency plan for future. We're going to have to get some, John ended up having to replace sump pumps and everything else in there because there's just a lot of construction problems from when the building was switched over from the bank. So.
Was it an installation issue, or who put it in, or
I don't know who put it in, but John said that when he looked in there, he talked about injectable concrete and all this stuff. John's.
Yeah.
But there was no water protection. The water wasn't actually coming through the conduit; it was coming from around the conduit that goes into the building. And so what it was doing was it was running in and straight down to the electrical box, the big electrical box.
Right.
So, yeah. You know. No, it's not good. Like I said, John's been in contact with the insurance, and they're going to let him work that part of it out. We're just hoping that we don't, like I said, don't get another hard rain anytime soon. Other than that, unless you have anything for me. Yeah. So anybody, of course, in town that would like to be there I'll try to put something out on our Facebook page about the time of the funeral and stuff. There was a lot of motorcycle riders that came in, the POWMIA people. And so, pretty cool deal. Except we're going to take care of him Friday. And then he still has a brother alive and some other family members that were there today. And the Honor Guard, U.S. Army Honor Guard was there. It's a pretty cool deal. So I'll put the information about the funeral out on our webpage or on our Facebook page for Friday. Anything else? All right, thanks.
Evening. Just kind of touch base with Chief Buckner. Yeah, we had our fire engine there. We're all going to be setting up our garrison flag with the help with Madison Township Fire Department. They're on 144 as he goes to the funeral procession for his final resting piece. But we're trying to honor this young man, or this man that served our country for us. So. A couple weeks ago, I sent an email out to the council. We did receive an REMC grant. It's 100% funding. That total was for $5,000 in a grant fund that we wrote for. I was a little shocked when Chief Russell came in and said, hey, we got some of our stuff. I'm kind of shocked on that. I guess the stuff's coming in around a little bit easier now to get, but we'll see. We're still waiting on a lot more of the parts that we did order. Did put in for the AFG grant for our SCBAs. I am also currently working on another FEMA grant for the SAFER grant for more staffing for next year's budget. Did have 2 of our full-time personnel that put themselves through paramedic program. They have completed that program. They are still in the process of basically taking their state boards to finalize on that. But once they get that completed, they will be a full paramedic for the town of Mooresville to better our services for the community. Other than that, I have nothing further unless you do. Yep.
The garage doors.
Garage doors are installed. We did have to get them back out. We had some eyes and the sensors were kind of messed up a little bit, but they are installed. They have been operating just fine, with the exception of just the one door. The sensors were off just a little bit, so they were not doing stuff properly. But other than that, they're doing just fine. Thank you.
David? Oh. Baptism by fire.
Council, I just wanted to introduce you guys to Philip Cornelius. He's our new superintendent over at the park. He's jumped in feet first with park board last night and then town council tonight, and then also just helping us wrap up some projects as well. So just wanted to bring him up here and introduce him to, and we're definitely very excited to have him.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be a part of town of Mooresville. I actually just grew up, just short little stint right up there in Canby. So this really kind of feels like coming home. So I'm glad to be a part of this town. Really excited for the future, and I can't wait to get to know each and every one of you and how the Parks Department can help and support the town's endeavors and beautification of our town. So, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Nothing? That's all of our department heads. Legal counsel.
I have nothing for you tonight.
Are there any comments from the public? Motion for approval of payment of claims. Should have 2 dockets.
Motion to approve $192,444.08. That would be for the payroll clearing.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Kane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? Aye. And I'm an aye. Greg, Josh, 5-0.
Motion to approve payable vouchers in the amount of $859,746.23.
Been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Kane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? Aye. And I'm an aye. 5-0. Greg, Josh. Comments from the council? Jeff?
I have none.
Kane?
I do have a few real quickly. Just like to welcome the park director, and I look forward to meeting him in person. I'd like to wish Russell Lambert a happy birthday. He turned 106 years old this week, and I'd like to add him to the agenda for a resolution like we did before to honor his birthday and declare a date of celebration for his birthday, even though because of the way the council meetings passed, we weren't able to do it on his birthday anyway. But I'd like to do that and send his family an invite for that, if it's okay with the council to do it next meeting. And then I'd like to thank Josh Messmer and county commissioners for sending up trucks to help the Boys and Girls Club in Mooresville with their project. They did it with 24-hour notice and got them the help they need and got that project done. I think it was great. I'd like to thank the fire chief, Mooresville Fire Chief, for helping our senior center, along with the rest of the fire chiefs and crew from Madison and Brown, and the trustee's office was there as well. They helped them with moving items back to their facility, which was damaged by water. So I thought it was a great gesture on our fire department's part. And I'd like to thank the 200th anniversary committee who sent members tonight, but those folks have been working for the benefit of the taxpayer for quite some time at a volunteer basis. I'd like to thank them as well. And that is all of my comments.
Josh?
No, none.
Greg?
I think I'm good. Thank you.
Our next meeting day will be Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. I need a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion, we adjourn?
Motion been made. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. Jeff?
Aye.
Shane?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg? And I'm an aye. Thank you, everyone. Josh, Greg? Hey, wait a minute. Gentlemen, Jeff. I may need a signature here. Let me get just a couple signatures.
Oh, he's there. He's right there.
Won't be late for roll call. There he is. I thought, shit. Okay. Well, just
Bring him inside, right?
yeah, anywhere you can.
Was that for or against?
Hurry.
I sent you an email, and I know, I hate bothering you, because I know you're such a busy person, but when I notified the people to advertise annexation, because it's a requirement. We good? That's right. Officials down there, but I cannot get a good email for the state, Secretary of State and the, I think it's the legislative agency.
I'll say,
So I don't know.
I'll look into that.
Okay, because I'm just afraid that it might come back to haunt us.
Bring those if you would.
Thank you.
You want to take a picture?
Already did.